combat ended, you guys now find yourselves standing around looking at this slaughterfest. I think Finn is actually still trying to get up.
Yeah, just sliding around like a dumbass.
Hey,
Sliding
hey.
Cole will help Finn up.
You
Please
started
do.
epically.
Thank you.
Jarek
Thank
nods knowingly at Finian.
I don't even know what that means. But I don't like it. Thank you, Cole. Thank you.
I think
God.
Jarek probably thinks it's just justice for all your stealing his Neils.
Neil.
So, and by the way, because we were all tired at the end of the last session, so if I didn't say, freaking well done, guys. You killed over 20 people.
Yes.
That's a lot of death.
I know. My personal kill counter is at 9. I kept track.
Yeah.
I do no such things because I don't know, a person with a soul.
Anyway.
No offense.
Excuse me.
So, so as the combat slows down, as it stops, actually, it hasn't slowed down, it's actually stopped. Is there anything anyone wants to do immediately, like the moment combat ends? All right?
Yeah, the moment it ends, Pierce is going to step over the bodies and kind of wipe some of the blood away on his shirt. He steps towards, it is Tarkin, correct?
Correct.
Yeah. Steps towards Tarkin around here. And he says, I've been thinking while you've been all cleaning up here. I mentioned before how I don't believe in coincidences, and alarm bells are going off, and I'm not going to ignore it. It's pretty handy that the exact number that they're looking for is 6, and there's 6 of us in our group. If we even think about descending underneath the stairs, we have to ensure that none of us are already a cultist. He points to Tarkin and says, I'm sure you are an honor-bound guard, but I'm afraid I don't believe you. I plan on stripping down to my undergarments, and I suggest you do the same to show that we don't have any of these tattoos. Once we're all satisfied, we can continue down.
Tarkin looks at you, and it looks like he's about ready to argue, and then looks around and says, I don't have time for this. Yes, fine. And he starts stripping down. By the way, while this is going on, everyone else, now that things are settling down and the adrenaline is rushing out, you look around you and you see an absolute slaughterhouse. There are over 40 bodies that are very, very brutally maimed and killed, and it's not a very pretty sight. What I want each of you to do is roll a constitution check and add your backgrounds that would be relevant to making you hardened against such sights. And then
Okay.
I'm not going to tell you what happens to you. I'm going to use this more as a guide for you guys to determine how your character would feel about what they're standing in. If you can get over a 12, then you're pretty fine. Keen apparently is completely unfazed by it. I guess he eats slaughter for breakfast.
It's like,
All right. I would say that Pearson, since he got right on the 12, he's disturbed but isn't showing any sort of outward signs of it.
Finn looks physically ill.
Makes sense.
As Finn should.
Well, you
been a
have
rough
been
week.
slipping around in it, so...
It's got in my mouth.
Oh, God.
Ugh.
Jarek is disgusted by Finian. That's going to be
Are you
what's just transpired.
Are you still wearing your half mask? Did it soak through that and then get in your
Yeah.
mouth? Oh, that's
Yeah.
not... All right.
Ugh.
So, also, hang on. I should probably just for the.
Wait, so
since
is
I'm making everyone else do
Tarkin
it.
getting naked here?
Yeah, he's.
So's Pearson.
Oh wow, Tarkin actually seems incredibly unfazed by this, as if he's stood in such things.
And it's
I'm
not
thinking-
nude, it's down to undergarments.
Right.
So
Finn
and
is definitely
he-
not looking. You
he looks
freaks.
he looks rather upset by having to do this, and he does mumble about this about he's been in the Queen's Guard for 20 years and they're not
I
trusting
don't
him.
care.
But the truth of the matter is he's still complying. Probably because he
That's
just
good.
doesn't believe that has time. Can everyone give me a perception roll? Jarek, wow, 18.5. All right,
A little
Jarek
technical.
and Keen, and Inferno actually. All right,
Yeah.
so you three, you hear underneath this table right here, you hear movement. And I should point out that the rest of the room is absolutely still and deathly quiet, almost as if death were hanging in the air.
Who'd have thought?
So Jarek's at home. Gotcha.
Yeah.
I'm going to bring my bow up and just train it on the table and slowly start walking over there.
Okay, I'm gonna pause and just be on my guard, look towards the sign. Pearson probably already has his shirt off, but his trousers are still on. He has his shirt in his hands, getting ready to react if anything violent comes out.
Tarkin actually motions to you and says, "It's not necessary. The lady trusts you. I trust you." And then he starts removing his pants. I know that sounds really weird.
Pearson shrugs.
Come off.
Squee, Jared doesn't play around. I'm going to use ghost sound, and I'm going to pitch it to be right under that table, and it's going to be a whisper saying, "Pow!"
Oh my god. Okay. Hang on. Yeah, okay. You hear more movement, but you don't hear any voice. But you do hear it startled something. But nothing comes out, nothing moves. You just hear it kind of like hit the table, something moved.
I'm gonna keep going closer. That's okay.
Jarek condescendingly sneers at the table.
Oh, that'll stop it.
Pearson says, "Listen, if you're under there, come out and live, or stay there and possibly get fucking impaled by an arrow."
Upon such a thing, someone hesitantly crawls out from under the table and looks up, very surprised, because he recognizes you and you recognize him as Cellar, the cleric who actually helped you get through the sewers earlier.
Oh.
Oh.
And I should point out, in case you've forgotten, also
he
the
died.
husband to the corpse that was dragged through by the guy with the
Yeah.
mask, and the father to the daughter that was dragged in front of him.
Not everyone recognized those people.
No, I didn't.
Right.
I just,
Those
out of
who
character,
did.
assumed he died.
Yes. So he looks at you guys, and his face gets very surprised, and he says, "You? But what are you doing?" Like, he's kind of at a loss for words. He did not expect that. And he stutters again. He goes, "What are you guys doing here? You're not... Look, you're good people. You don't want to be here."
Well, you might be right on one, but we have our own reasons for it.
I'm still really curious why you're here.
He stops for a second and kind of collects himself, his wits, and hang on a second, let me put him down.
His family is here.
And yeah, Cellar nods his head and he says, "They murdered my wife. They took my daughter. What father wouldn't be here?"
Well, I have bad news for you there, priest. If they've already killed your wife and took your daughter, they probably know who you are, which means the second you go down those stairs, you'll be dead as well. You're best leaving her life into our hands. For what we know, they don't know who we are, and therefore we have an advantage.
And he looks at you with a very straight and stone face and said, "No, if they kill me, they kill me, but I am not abandoning my daughter. I won't trust anyone else with that. If you have to kill me right here, fine, but look..."
I'm not gonna kill you right here, priest.
He looks at that and he says, "Thank you, but do you understand what this cult is? What they do?"
Yeah. And at that point, Pearson, who still doesn't have his shirt on, goes over to the closest body and smears blood from the corpse onto his hands and starts running it down his chest, creating a stain of blood. And he says, "Yeah, we know exactly what they do, and we plan on blending in." And I bring handprints to my face and have them rest on there just so it looks like Pearson is thoroughly enjoying a bloodbath.
Finn is just staring wide-eyed.
Blending in, Sela looks at you. "So you're not trying to join them?"
No.
He kind of mutters under his breath about insanity. he
Our
looks up. He goes,
concerns are our own. However, cleric, there is room downstairs only for 6.
"Well," he looks around. "Perhaps one of you could go. I'm sorry, but I have no choice. I have nothing left. My daughter is everything to me."
Well, if you insist.
Bullshit, priest. There's always a point. Finn, stay where you are.
Oh God
Now,
damn
what
it.
would this? Now, what? why
And
do
while
have
you
to
guys
go
are
down-
talking, actually,
Yeah.
Pete, you hear noises on the stairs. Up from the stairs arrives the two from before. They come up, and the man in the mask, of course, leading again, and looking around the tavern at the carnage. Obviously, you can't really see how he reacts to it, because he's wearing a mask the whole time.
Out
And-
of curiosity,
Mhm.
Squee, sorry, I don't mean to interrupt you halfway through, but we would have heard them coming up the stairs first, right?
Yes, you would have, and I would say
Is-
you have about 5 seconds before they come, if you need it.
Okay, can I make a split-second decision and have Pearson move quickly to hide around the corner there?
Sure.
Okay, cool. That's all it is, and he's going to be very, very silent.
Okay. So they come up, and like I said, they're looking around at the carnage around them, and the guy with the mask, you can't really tell what he thinks. The guy behind him is stone-faced, huge, quiet, lumbering, and just following the guy behind him. When Brother Seafeed gets near you guys, he starts clapping his hands together. He says,
"Bravo! Well done.
he says as he's looking around,
I have to admit I haven't seen a bloodbath like this in, a week or two.
and he says,
Gather round, children, gather round."
Cole continues to stand there.
and everyone, this guy comes over here.
Pearson doesn't move. He's going to just have his... He's going to be right up against the stone wall, trying not to make a single noise, not even trying to even breathe silently.
And Brother Seafeed kind of marches down the line, looking at each of you in turn, and says,
Well, you guys really did enjoy yourselves, didn't you? Well, welcome to the family of Salage. You're not quite full members yet, but you have pleased the mother, and as long as you continue to please the mother, you will continue to please me. Well done.
and he comes over and kind of drapes his arm around Tarkin, and he says,
Except for one little thing.
and then in a blink of an eye, he brings out a dagger and actually buries it into Tarkin's chest before you guys can react.
Oh, I feel guilty. His armor probably could have protected him. Oh, shit.
Yeah. And
well.
as shock and pain drives over Tarkin's face, Seafeed's voice seems to change completely, and he says,
I don't enjoy spies from the government coming into my place.
and he actually kind of gently lowers Tarkin to the ground and sits down with him, still kind of cradling him as Tarkin's body starts to spasm and his life starts to drain. Seafeed seems to not see anyone but Tarkin, and he actually starts kind of rocking back and forth with him and says,
Don't you just love this moment? The moment right before life ends. It is the desperation, the excitement. I will join you soon, I promise, but I have more work to do.
and he starts actually like petting the blood that's coming out of the dagger in the chest. Completely different voice again from what he had just a moment before, and he kind of sits there, like I said, cradling the now corpse that is Tarkin, because Tarkin died rather quickly, to his chest. Is anyone doing anything at this time, or?
Finn is stiff.
Jerk's gonna glide back a little bit. You know, government spies and all that. Who knows who might else.
So at this point, Pearson is going to pop out here, covered in blood, and says, I desire the embrace of the mothermost! And I'm going to jump towards Jarek, and I'm going to try to knock him down onto the floor and wrap my hands around his neck and pretty much look like I'm strangling him to death.
Jarek is not going to fight back with this.
Okay.
Brother Seafeed looks up from the corpse and sees what's going on, and he actually watches probably a bit longer than he should. Holds up his hands and says,
Peace, brother, peace. You've already proven that you can murder a man. Murdering another won't show me anything. Stand up.
I stand up from this body and says, I am sorry, Great One. I just desire it so much. I want to feel her embrace, and I want to please you.
I understand. However, you're not done yet. As I said, you pleased the mother, but there's still much for you to prove.
and he stands up, and kind of unceremoniously drops the corpse on the floor of Tarkin, and says,
You've proven to me that you can murder a man. But murdering a man who's trying to murder you is not that hard at all. It doesn't show any commitment. I'm curious how committed you would be if it were an innocent, someone not involved, someone with no connection, with no will to harm you. Would you still be committed to the mother then?
I would do anything, Cullimore says.
Jarek slowly picks himself off the ground. Now his black robe is smothered in blood and around his neck, too.
Brother Seafeed actually stares behind his mask at each and every person who doesn't answer, with the exception of Finn. The gaze glides right over Finn, as if Finn is supposed to be there. But everyone else he stares at until they respond to him.
Of course, Master Seafeed.
Okay.
Okay.
After a while, he cocks his head curiously at Cole, and then sighs, and then looks on to Cellar, and Cellar's eyes on the floor, not actually looking at Brother Seafeed, says in a very low voice, I would do anything for the mother. And Brother Seafeed says,
Well, we'll see about that. It just so happens there's a way you can prove this to me. There is, in town, a widower and her son. They have been marked for death by the mother this night, and you're the ones that are going to deliver it to them. Oh, Uvik will show you the way.
and he motions to the big man behind him.
And he'll oversee your handiwork. You're to go to their house this night and murder them. And do make it brutal. It is said that the widow has a ring on her left hand, a keepsake of her dead husband. When the job is done, bring me that ring, won't you? And make sure it's still on its finger.
With great pleasure. Shall we give you the entire hand?
When you say that, he actually stares at you, and his voice is a little sterner.
Am I to repeat my instructions again? I asked for a finger and a ring, nothing more. However, in case you decide to back out, or think that you can fool me, Uvek will be there watching your every move. And even if he won't, I have ears everywhere. I want to hear the guard talking of the grisly murder tomorrow. I want to hear of a funeral being planned for the poor widower and her son. Basically, you're at a crossroads. Either they die tonight by your hand, or you die later by mine. Do this, though, and the mother will be pleased.
And after that, Seafeed kind of sits back down to Tarkin and starts cradling the body to his chest again.